All right.
It removes it. Popping
At
means
what
removing.
point in the course will we have like all of the knowledge
No,
required
pop
to
is-
complete all of the
Pop the
assignments?
element of the end of the
Like
array.
every bit of knowledge
It
that
does
will
it for
help
you.
me.
It removes
You
it.
have it now.
So,
Yeah.
okay, because
Yeah.
my issue now is it's not.
You have it now.
Pretty
It's
much
not
everything
removing
afterwards
the
is
elements
just like
when I click reset. Like I'm sure I have count.
future type knowledge.
Right, so
Yeah,
it's
it's, yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on whether you count the exam, right?
2, 1, 2, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let me just
2, 1.
try to sideways this monitor a little bit more. Yeah.
Will the exam be easier than the midterm?
Probably not. All right. And just being real with you.
Where do you get the array of words?
Do you mind if I turn this monitor?
Where do you get the array of?
Is my background in there? I can put it down.
Yeah, if you would mind. Thanks.
Where do you make the reading from file thing?
Where I make it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Where is it?
and there we go. Objective achieved.
It's in the middle.
All right.
Can I?
That would be good
show
enough.
me the
So,
uses of that method?
hello everybody. So today we are going to we're going to be continuing on with our discussion of REST APIs. We have a bit more to talk about with respect to that, but I thought it might be fun, just kind of. We're kind of in like semester wrap-up territory at this point. I thought it might be fun to make Twitter. You guys want to make Twitter? But we can't call it Twitter though, because of copyright reasons. So I thought, ours is going to be better than Twitter because anything is better than Twitter. So we'll just increment the letter. We shall make y, but we probably will not make y. We'll make y-o-y because oh god, y, y-o-y-o-y, etc. So let's make y-o-y. Exactly.
Should I put this in?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they still own the name.
Yeah, make the vote.
I would be very surprised if Muskie Baby let go of that one. So, I have XAMPP already up and running, and we're going to be doing it in VS Code.
Yes.
I'm going to make a new folder.
Whatever you do the first time, you do that.
I'm going to call it YOY. YOY. And I'm going to create a folder as well for an API. We're going to give this thing an API, but we're going to do a bit of database stuff as well. All right? So, that's how we shall be structured. Let's open up htdocs in VS Code. There it is. YOY. Select folder. There we go. I trust myself. Perhaps I shouldn't. Okay. So, before we do anything, let's make our YOY home page, home screen, splash screen, etc. Now, in theory, we could integrate a username login system, but for the purposes of this demonstration, let's just make the database. Let's just expose the. Ooh, we have to think of what they're called. Okay, I was going to say database of tweets, but it's not tweets because it's not Twitter. What should we call them? Wise. Okay. Yeah. Perhaps clockwise or anti-clockwise or
It's like, this is just a meme for
ants?
It's gonna be like Twitter mixed with Google, where everything you have to say is a question and you're guaranteed unreliable results.
Oh, yeah, sure. Index.php.
Oh, you made the folder named API.
I made a folder named API inside of my folder, which is called YOY. So I've got YOY, and I've got API inside of that.
Sorry, can I see the TS code first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so index is not in the API, okay.
Nope, index is in our YOY folder. The idea is that our API is going to be performing a bunch of database database interactions. It's actually not the purpose of the database to present a web page, right? That's the view part of the model view controller architecture, right? So we're starting with a little bit of view. We're going to make a very basic interface. Let's call this welcome to YOY, the Internet's premier instant messaging application for lots of people at once. There we go. You don't have to copy that full title. So, we will need a few different functions in order for this to be a minimally functional Twitter clone. So, I know, HTML comments are just such a pain.
They are.
They look horrendous as well.
Yeah, so we should be able to add a, what were we calling them? Y? Ys?
Oh, instead of like tweet? What are you trying to say?
Yes, we're, instead of Ys, instead of sending X's, we're sending Ys.
Okay.
So, this
Oh,
will be the
Ys.
premier's, yes, the
Ys.
internet's premier instant messaging application for wisdom. Because there's not enough of that on the internet,
No.
so.
It doesn't seem like a platform for sharing wisdom.
Yep, so we should also be able to view all wisdom.
Wisdom is depends.
We should be able to delete
So
a Ys.
Wisdom is never a concept.
it's not a good thing. Exists.
Perhaps like some wisdom. See, like a Ys. It's like my internal grammar Nazi is just raging against me right now. So the singular is Ys, the plural is wisdom. So we should be able to like, view, delete, and add. Is there anything else? No, that'll be good for now.
Add image with a voice.
Hmm?
Add image with a voice.
Oh, I'm not doing images. You can take the code and do that yourself if you want.
Be here for a while if you did that.
I think this is good enough for now. So, there we go. So, when we add a new post a new piece of wisdom, a new wise to YOY. What method would we be using for that?
Wait, in terms of adding?
Yeah.
To our database?
Yeah.
Insert.
Hmm?
Insert, right?
Oh, that's the SQL command. What would the HTTP packet method be?
Post.
Post. Very good. Post. What would viewing all wisdom be? Not post.
Is that either PostgreSQL or debug?
Well, there is a method type for this. If we want to retrieve information from a database,
Server?
nope. We want to acquire information. We wish to
Select.
get information. Yes.
I said get.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry. Alright. If we wish to delete information from the database,
Other than delete.
yeah, just delete. Very good. Delete. And I'll give you this one for free. Liking a wise is put, yes. It's updating existing information, not adding new information. So that will be a put operation. Sound good? Alright. So let's make ourselves a quick form for this. Well, I don't want to do that actually, because I want to do this with Ajax.
So you have to write scripts.
Yep. Source YOY.js, which is really what all JavaScript files should be called. Because YOY, am I writing this in JavaScript? Haha. There we go. Now we've got a JavaScript file. So, if we are posting information, let's keep it simple. Let's just do the text of the wisdom. Just the text of the wise itself. So let's take that in with a rich text box, I think. Rich text box, anyone? Yeah? So input type equals rich text box. I forget what. Let me look it up for a minute. Text area? Is that it? Okay. Yeah.
Is that like the bigger text box?
Yeah, the one with the pull tab.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think text area is actually a tag.
Let me take a look. Text area, text area, okay, yep, text area. Very good. Thank you. ID, give it, new wise. And text area. There we go. And let's create a button on click equals post wise. See, I'm using an inconsistent
Well, that's
convention.
good.
That's going to be terrible. Post wise. There we go. I just haven't written it yet. Right? So far so good? Now, let's take a look at our JavaScript. function postwise. Here we go. We want documents dot query selector. Here, shall I split this? Shall I split the screen?
Kind of helpful.
Hiya!
Splits it.
Splits in half.
It would be easier to read if you just put it all in the same one, and just embed the script.
It's gonna get long.
NCD soon.
Yeah.
So we want this ID.
So, new wise. Dot value. I forgot. Is it inner HTML or value with the text area?
It's just inner HTML, I believe. I think dot value is only for inputs.
True.
But I think you also do dot text, what, inner text or something?
It's
Text content, yeah.
text content.
I don't know if that will do the same thing.
We'll try it. Text is equal to, sorry, var text is equal to, there we go. Maybe I need to reduce the size, there we go. Is this still visible from the back?
Yes.
Good. So, now we just need to formulate an AJAX query, which has this as the body. Now, even though it's not strictly required at this stage in development, we save ourselves hassle in the long term if we JSON encode this, even though it doesn't necessarily need to be JSON encoded, right? If we JSON encode it, then later on, when we start attaching things like, perhaps a user ID number to the Ys, so that you can, see who has the wisdom. It gives us the ability to expand things later on. So let's form up our JSON object. So var data is equal to, let's say text is text. There we go. And now, let's send this guy out through our API. Our API that we haven't created yet. So, relative to this, it'll be located at API / and then we actually don't need any, we don't have any parameters to be putting out past this point just yet. Because we don't have, we haven't synced up to users yet, so there's no user information to be sent. That's what I would do with, this point, probably. But, be that as it may. Let's just get the simple version working first. So API is our URL. And fetch URL method is post body is data. Then response is response.text, result, console log it. There we go. I think that'll work. Unless I made a mistake somewhere. Can anybody see any mistakes I made? Alright. We'll see if the compiler likes it. So, we now have a button that, when clicked, will send an AJAX request to API, the API folder, but what we want to do is we want to redirect all incoming requests from that folder to our API, special API handling dispatch script, right? Are you guys with me so far? Any questions so far? Can I get a thumbs up? So far so good? Any questions? No? Okay. So, inside of our API folder, let's make htaccess. And, while we're at it, dispatch.php. So, oh man. I got 25 minutes in without having to open up Canvas. But I forget the exact. I want to put this. Oh, and before you ask me about these like exercises, they are actually blank files and placeholders, the unpublished ones. So, here we go. There we go. So, htaccess contains rewrite engine on rewrite rule dot, and then the name of the PHP script we wish to redirect to, dispatch.php. There we go. So far, so good. Question?
The htaccess and the verbiage for it, are we going to need to know this for the exam?
So this is what I've been told about how this material pertains to the exam. You will need to know the theory behind REST and RESTful APIs, but you will not be required to produce code. So you should certainly know of the existence of htaccess, what it does, what its purpose is, how this serves REST. But in terms of memorizing the contents of that file, that's not really reasonable to expect. Like, I know that this example this argument gets trotted out like selectively while you're in school, but like in the real world,
You can Google the docs.
yeah, there's no way you need to memorize that, right? So, let's write our dispatch script, or our first attempt at it anyway. PHP. There we go. So, we now come to the need to use some of the server superglobal properties in order to distinguish what type of packet we are receiving, what the URL is, whether that URL contains any parameters, right? And of course, filter, 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 sanitize, 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 assume nothing coming from the client
They're trying to
is
hack
trustworthy. They are always trying to hack you. Although I suppose the argument could be made, this is on XAMPP, but we make it on XAMPP with the intention of deploying it to the real internet.
you. You're trying to hack yourself on XAMPP.
Yes, exactly. So, the way that URL parameters are used is dependent on what the incoming request type is, right? So, between the two, URL parameters and packet type, the packet type is the primary information that we're worried about. We are worried about, selecting the right code based on which packet we're dealing with before we worry about, picking apart the string and pulling stuff out of it, right? So, let's get that done first. Server. I believe it's called request method. But let me just double check that to be sure. URI. Yeah, request method. There we go. So, one intelligent way of handling different things based on the incoming request method is to put that inside of a switch case. So, switch on our request type, case, post. Now, I don't know if it's going to come back as upper or lowercase, so why don't we just echo that first?
You just convert it to lowercase.
I mean, yeah, but it's going to be the same each time, right?
Yeah.
Wait, why don't you just convert, just say two lower in front of server.
Because it's going to be the same each time, and that's like, that's
one addition.
spending resources, you know?
That is true.
Default echo unrecognized packet type. You fool! There we go. Decided early that this is going to be an abusive script. There we go. So, good. Let's see if it works. Or let's see how much of it works. Let's open up localhost. /YOY. There we go. Welcome to YOY, the Internet's premier instant messaging application for wisdom. If the ball is too big for your mouth, it's not your ball. everybody get the reference? That's okay. So, let's see what we got. Object not found. Ooh. Yep, we're getting a 404.
Yeah, we don't have an it
What's
wasn't
that?
linked to the API link that is made,
You didn't
right?
make it.
Yeah, you have it going to the API folder, but not the API itself.
Oh,
The URL.
I mean, it should be fine. Let's see. API. Maybe I've got my slashes in the wrong spot. Let's try it like that. Hmm.
You're in error 404, right?
I am getting 404. The resource is not found.
403.
You're getting 403?
Yes, I put the link in and now it's saying it's forbidden.
Oh, well, that's an issue right there as well. That's a different issue. I need to use JSON.stringify on this. There we go. That won't, yeah.
Could you show that JSON string finally?
Like I put in API dot slash dot the address. What's it called? Dot HT access.
Oh, I got a 200.
Awesome.
Okay. Too many slashes. That was my issue. Okay. So in theory, I should just be able to say API colon. Will this work? Let's see. Yep. Well, I got a 301. That's interesting.
We can still give it a 4.
I got 200.
Moved permanently. Okay, there we go.
What?
All right, and the response is the index page. Interesting.
I'm still getting a 4.
You're still getting a 404?
Yeah.
I'm getting nowhere.
It might be your link for the API.
Remove the slash. Okay.
Can you show the JavaScript line?
There we go. Yeah. All right. Let me try it this way.
Is it showing the post?
Oh, there we go. Okay, so it does require something to be accessed. It doesn't take no parameters. It requires some parameters to be put in there in order to activate the rewrite rule. So, we also notice it is capitalized, the names of the parameters. So, let me explain how I fixed that. If you request just the folder that htaccess is inside of, it will behave normally and give you the index page. In our case, we were getting the auto-generated Apache, here's the contents of the folder page, right? If you then try to give some additional parameters after that, then we have, that activates HD access and redirects to the script appropriately. So, rather than just having some placeholder value, let's say API/posts. There we go. Further, when I post, in my response, I echoed my packet type to see whether it was capitalized or not, and it is all caps. So let's modify that.
So the case would just be like all caps post.
Yep. So in dispatch, capital post. And we may assume from that that we will also have
Capital get.
get, 1 second please, delete, and put. Question?
You put the index back in, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There, that's more valuable, right? Good. Question?
I'm still getting bored of where.
Let me see your URL. Show me your JavaScript. Yeah, remove that slash. And then say slash posts. No, on the other side of the API. Yeah. Good. There we go. Any other questions? So far, so good?
How did you release the response on the,
Ah, that's a good question.
I like them.
So
Instead of it.
all I did was I went into the network tab, clicked on the particular packet, and went to response, and it shows me the response, whatever the response is from the server. That being said, it's probably going to be useful to have like that information just displayed on the website. So I'm going to throw in a quick little.
Bring me to the web.
I'm going to throw in a quick output element so that we can we don't have to go in to see what the packet response is.
should we be getting a 200, because I'm getting a 500?
Yes, you should be getting a 200. 200 means packet was processed and responded normally. 500 means internal server error. Internal server error usually means your PHP script has a syntax error or encountered some other form of error.
I'm getting it's still giving me the index webpage when I click.
Did you add here, let me take a look at
So,
Did you add
no, I didn't add that. So
Add that,
so-
yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think it's not trying to test these server.
Show me your
Oh, perfect.
no,
So just I want to see.
sorry, I gotta keep moving. So, this is all well and good. We have successfully set up an API. So, next, let's create a database table, which will be where we store our whys, our wisdom. So, in our post method, when we pretty much for all of these, we will need to interact with the database at some point. So we might as well set up our PDO object before we get to all of our inputs. So, This is the joy of a summative exercise. We are going to be pulling material from previous weeks as well. So, recall the PHP data object. Recall this code that you copy and paste without thinking too hard about.
Are we gonna need to do that on the test, on the exam?
No, you won't. You won't need to. You should be aware of it in principle, but like,
So are we gonna, we're gonna be tested on like PDO, right?
yes, yeah, you'll definitely be tested on TDO.
Just on the understanding or code?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, the exam is still in the works, but let's just say if you are required to do this, there will be some stuff provided on this formula.
Like reference? Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm going to make a gonna make one. Gonna make a database. My database shall be called YOY. It will be in Swedish.
Why is it?
I don't know why it always comes up with Swedish, because Swedish works and I'm too afraid to change. I'm too scared to change it. So, new table. Let's see here. Let's call it posts, or I suppose we should call it wisdom. Let's see. We want an identification number. We want the text of the thing itself. We want. Let's leave a column for who created it, even if we haven't used that yet. And then let's also have a column for number of likes. Alright, so 4 columns. Let's have an ID number, which is an auto-incrementing variable. There we go. Let's have, what shall we call that? Wisdom? Or we could call it just text. Text, I think, works best. Creator. Now, this is kind of an interesting one. If we get to integrating users, my inclination is to reference users by identification number rather than something like username, right? This is, in theory, a value that you will be performing many comparisons against. And I know that, I know we don't generally think about efficiency, but string comparisons they take much longer than integer comparisons. So it's really best to use integers over strings in a context like this where this is going to be compared a lot, right? The efficiency of the database is also the efficiency of your application, right? Does that make sense? Good. So, creator will be an ID number, and then likes will also be an ID number. Save that. Oh, enter a valid blank. True. How long should our wisdom be?
Even on Twitter, is it like 250 characters?
Yeah.
250?
Is it 255 on Twitter? What is it on Twitter? Yeah?
I'm having trouble creating a database here.
Oh, give me 1 second. I know it used to be like 140 characters.
280.
Is it 280? All right, that's it. 281. Ta-da.
So are we just making Twitter but better? Isn't
Yes.
that like against copyright to just make a product but better?
Not for the purposes of education. Question?
No, I was just raising my hand.
Oh,
No, no question.
okay. You're interfering with the system, though. Just be aware. Still having trouble?
It's not, I don't see what you've got in
Oh, you're on CS Unix.
Oh,
Do it on localhost.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have these types of privileges on CSUX. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. So, all that being the case, which it is, the database name becomes YOY. Remember that the default access privileges on XAMPP for MySQL are root and password is empty. Sound good? So, this should connect us with a new PDO object, database handle. We can now write a request to the database, which puts our information posted into the database using an insert query. So, our query should be something like insert into table's name is wisdom, I think. Yes, wisdom, text, and yeah, that'll do for now. Text and likes. Likes should be initialized to 0. We don't have creators yet, so let's just leave that alone for now. It'll just populate the database with like blank null entries, which is fine. Yep, likes. Values, question mark, and then likes should always initialize to 0. Right?
You could add an if statement that says if your name is specific name, start with this many likes.
Let's write the algorithm before we start gaming the algorithm, okay? So, there is our query. Let's database. We then prepare our statement, just like a certain politician who's been in certain legal trouble lately has been doing. Ha ha ha, jokes. There we go. We must send our SQL query into the database handler object using the prepare method. The return result of that will be the statements that we, a statement object that we can fetch stuff from when we're finished. And then success will be statement execute. You know, I've been inserting the $signs in unrelated programming languages lately.
Makes sense.
It's very frustrating. And let's put the text in there. Although we don't actually have the text yet. Let's assume we'll put it here. There we go. Now, we need to get the text, right? Our text has been encoded in the post, in the body of the post request. We have a normal way of getting this with filter input, but there's another way that's given inside of the REST material. I'd like to show you that way. so that you can see that as well.
Index request, what's the right of query, if you scroll over?
Oh, just a closing semicolon, I think.
Okay.
Out of here, Adobe. It was like something really useful. Right here. There it is. So, both post and put operations require data to be sent along with the request. This data is typically sent in the body of the HTTP request. I don't think we will when we do our put, because my idea for the put request is that we will just take what the post ID number is and apply that as a URL parameter. But the data is typically sent from the body of the HTTP request, and it can be formatted any way you like, including JSON. So you can use file get contents on php://input and then JSON decode in order to acquire that input, as well as going through superglobals and using filter input. So the difference, the post requests that we've been doing so far have been, here's a parameter, here's the value, here's the parameter, here's the value. This guy can handle just plain received text, right? It doesn't have to be key value pairs. You can just grab the contents of the post request as text, and or if it's a JSON, you can decode it as a JSON. You can do whatever you want with it. This is a more general mechanism. Make sense? So let's do it. So there are actually use cases. Copy. Pasta. There we go. And for the suspicious in the crowd, we can also encode the data and send it out as an echo statement, just to make sure that we are reading what we think we're reading. Now, in the outgoing data, we have a text parameter that the actual text of the tweet is getting, or tweet, the actual text of the wisdom is getting dumped into. So to access it, we need data at text, and of course this is data coming from the user, so we should filter it. Filter bar. There's the value, and the filter sanitize special chars. There you go. So far, so good. If success, echo operation succeeded. This is the old school, this is the old way. We're going to show you a better way of doing this very shortly. Echo operation failed. In theory, you could take this bit and put it outside the switch case down below. Like, use the switch case only to formulate your SQL query. We might do that a bit later on, but for now, let's just make sure that it's working. So, post, there we go. Text is blank, but the operation succeeded. So, let's take a look in our database. There we go. Yep. So, we did create one, but somehow our text didn't manage to find its way into the database, which is probably a JavaScript problem. It might be the fact we're using text content. Perhaps inner HTML is correct. Reload. Post. There we go. Nope, still nothing. Okay. Alright, gonna look up JavaScript, get content of text area. It is dot value. Well, bust my buttons. There we go. Dot value.
No, that one also didn't work.
That one also doesn't work? Let's see here. Alright. Alright, JavaScript. See, this is why JavaScript is the worst language. Documents.
Sir, we're changing which is the worst language by semester.
I'm allowed to have opinions. Query selector. What's this one called again? There we go. Dot value. No, I got it. It is dot value. Maybe I'm messing up the object syntax. worked. Boom. And if, let me check the database, just to make sure. There we go. Yep, I'm just. Or maybe I'll leave them in, that's fine too. Alright, so. This is the code that works. I'm not precisely sure why this one works and the other one didn't, but there you have it. I remember back in my early days as a young coder, whenever something didn't work, I would often just rephrase it in different but similar constructs to see if eventually I would hit upon some formulation that did what I expected it to. This was how I learned to code. So that's why I'm such a terrible coder. Any questions? So, we managed to get posting data to work correctly. Yay! Woo! Question?
I'm getting an error.
You getting there? Okay. Which area are you getting?
Mine is important, so it's can't find the address.
Show me your JavaScript. Show me your project. Right here. Not working with that.
Execution is here, and it's this one.
Show me here. That passes outside of my realm of knowledge. Sorry. Might work on like that computer. All right. Very good, very good. Wonderful, in fact. So, let us now develop a way of viewing these posts. Shall we? So, question?
Can you open the dispatch.php file?
I most certainly can. In fact, I will split it left and right. How's that? Good. If you need me to scroll to the end, just let me know. Oh, actually, there's one thing I wanted to do. Echoing operation succeeded and operation failed is kind of like, it's a little bit, ooh, I just learned to program, you know? What you actually want to do there is you want to return the proper status codes, the proper web status codes for whether or not things worked. So operation succeeded, that will by default be 200, which is fine. But there are actually quite a few of these. Fine, but not as informative as it could be. So, there we go. It would perhaps be better in that situation to use code 204. No content. Everything went great, but I have no data for you. So with post, there's no expected result, right? The insert query does not have any return result other than whether it succeeded or failed. So, or perhaps 201, the resource has been successfully created, right? So each one of these has a different status code which should be used. So So let's use it. You can set status codes in PHP using functions. HTTP response code. So we can say HTTP response code 102 or 201, pardon me. And then if the operation failed, you can say HTTP response code 405? Method not allowed? No, that would be a different one.
Before is one.
Yeah, I think 400 is probably fine. It's then courteous to send some error message along with the error. So you can do that with plain text or JSON, but in this case, it would be something like malformed query. Make sense? Good. So, alright. So I'm not necessarily terribly interested in doing something like an infinite scroll application assignment for. So we're just going to do a simple little button which retrieves all of the database information that has been posted, right? Probably we'll arrange that reverse chronologically, or in our case, all we have to do is sort descending by the ID number, and that will put it in the correct order, right? Wow, you guys are so full of energy today. Yeah. Is it exams getting you down?
It's Monday.
Yeah. Is it Monday?
It's Monday.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir, it's always Monday.
It's all of the above.
All right. Well, I'm trying to keep the class interesting. So we need a button. Button on click. Let's say get wisdom. There we go. And then I guess I'll put the div. Well, actually these two categories will become, yeah, okay, alright. We'll put a div in here. In that div we shall display all of the things. So, I'm probably going to do this without any bootstrap or tables or anything nice looking. I'm just gonna plunk it down in HTML, and because I'm not really, this is not a client side class. I don't really care how the client thinks or how they feel. All I care about is the server stuff. So basically, now, function get wisdom. This will have many of the many similar sort of elements. Here we go. in this case, our method will not be post, our method will be get. And our message will have no body. We are, however, expecting our response in the form of a JSON. Make sense? And rather than logging our result, let's call display wisdom, invoke a new function which I'm about to write. Function display wisdom. So, basically, we want to go through our JSON, and for every row in the JSON, we wish to create a div, fill it with the contents, and then pop it out, basically collect them all up, pop them in as children of that one output display div, and that'll be good enough, right? If you want, you can be extra fancy and put a border on them, but I don't even care. I don't even care. Alright, so gotta get our data in, or nope, this is JavaScript. What is it? var I.
Oh, yeah.
I use var, but there's another one I'm supposed to be using. Is it let?
No.
Yeah.
No, it defaults to bar on, I mean, you could use.
Yeah, let is not scoped, globally, JavaScript, so.
Let is not scoped
Yeah.
globally? Okay, I'll use let then. Data.length. There we go. So, let new div equal document, what is it? Document dot create element div new div dot let content equal document dot create element paragraph content dot inner HTML is equal to data at I at text. New div dot append child content, and let's display div equal documents dot query select for all, called it display, didn't I? I believe I did. Yep. Display, there we go. And display div dot append child new div. There we go. Now, when I add buttons for liking and other operations, I will need to modify this code to give a button for liking and deleting. But for the time being, let's just see that it displays stuff. Make sense? And I suppose for debugging purposes, console.log the data. Oh, I hate you! Alright. I mean, what? I didn't say anything. For those of you who missed it, I put a $sign in JavaScript. There we go. So, there we go, there we go, there we go. Wonderful. Now, the client side, in theory, should be done. We can only really debug this bit before we write this bit, because we have to write this bit before we can use that bit. So let's do this bit next. So I'm just gonna literally let's get rid of this encode, or this echo. There we go. So in our case, a GET query of this particular form is retrieving the entire contents of the database. Now, once we have users integrated, we could add an additional URL parameter so that we could search by individual users to get individual users, all of the tweets by a particular user, right? But let's just leave that as it be. Let's leave that alone for the time being and continue forward. So our query, select star from table name is wisdom. Then we prepare our statement. Statement is equal to database handle prepare query. This is not taking any parameters, so we can just execute it directly. There we go.
Sarah, isn't there like a,
Yep.
greater than, smaller than symbol?
There. And a semicolon. Thank you. Now. Upon success, we are not actually sending one of these. It'll be a regular 200, which is the default. What we need to do is we need to package up the return results from the database and kick that out to the user, or to the client, in form of a JSON encoded string. So, statement, fetch all PDO : fetch associative. This will become data. The data which we are fetching from the database. Next, all we need to do, package that up as a JSON and send it out. Echo JSON encode. Good. Any questions? Shall we see if this works? Oh, you know what? Before we do, one little break isn't going to break everything, is it? Get wisdom. So, the response comes back, contains all of the data. So far, so good. I think I'm missing one critical step somewhere in our, let's see here, so console. Yep, we've got everything. Wonderful. So now I'm spending time once again debugging JavaScript, my favorite pastime. Let's see what we're actually appending. Now here's a question. Am I actually even getting in the loop? Probably not. This is JavaScript after all. Nope. Nope, I'm not even getting in the loop. Alright,
Can I look at it again?
yeah,
Data doesn't have anything.
Data doesn't have
no. How do you do that? Is it link that data?
no.
Data doesn't count?
There's that len, just len. No.
Okay. I shouldn't have to Google this, but I'm gonna Google this. Length without the, so it's lowercase. There we go. Let's try it now. Aha! There we go. Can't get rid of that. Get rid of that, because they're no longer necessary. Now, it was snowing earlier today. I wish it was summer. But then again, no mosquitoes. There we go. Right? So far, so good? Now, we did say that we were gonna like reverse the ordering on it, but maybe we should just continue on. Maybe that's not interesting. I mean, is it interesting? Do you want me to like reverse order the sort on that? No? Because I'm pretty sure you can do that in SQL reasonably easily
Yeah, because we're just
with sort by.
B.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
let's
it
try
be,
it.
wouldn't it be order by?
Yeah, SQL order by.
SQL? I don't.
Yes. Order by ID in descending. Is it DS or DSC? One must always look at these things. It's DES. Oh. C, there we go. Now, save, save, save. There we go. We reverse the order. Now that's much simpler than writing a sorting algorithm, isn't it? Ha. Burn on assignment 2.
Can I look at the code again?
You may look up the code again. Which code were you wanting?
This sort, I didn't see when you did for the sort, I look up.
Yeah, that one.
That's it.
I was right, it's just order by.
Yep. So far so good? Good. Now. Now things get a little bit tricky. Just a little bit tricky.
Just a little.
Tiny, tiny bit tricky. We now want to, well, let's put in a thing that displays how many likes a post has. And then let's add a button for liking a post. Sound good? Good. So, append child document. This is going to make some people cringe. Create elements. Break. New div dot let's say let likes equal document dot create elements p. Obviously, like if you were doing this with Bootstrap or something nice, you'd do like some kind of nice little numeric indicator, you know, like a circle or something. But again, I don't care. Likes dot inner HTML is equal to data at likes. There we go. Boom. And then we also want to append that to new div dot append child likes. There we go. So let's just hop back to our page and see if that worked. That's a big break. It's a bit too much break, in fact.
It's because a div is also in itself, when a div also in itself.
Yeah. I just didn't want it to end up at the same.
Yeah,
on the
because
same
you know,
line.
paragraph.
Oh yeah, I'm using paragraphs. Oh my god. Alright. Whoops. There we go.
Sir, do you need an HTML?
Listen, I actually don't. I'm even gonna say,
How's it display, tag formatted like, PHP index?
which one?
Just the display that this is all being put into. In the index.php.
Which line?
I think get it.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Just a div.
That's exactly
ID,
what I know.
yeah.
That's the problem.
Alright. There we go. I suppose it would be nice to have like,
What? Oh yeah, you have.
there's a
the
bunch of blank
empty
ones.
yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll just style.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Worst looking web page that I know. div border 1 pixel solid black. Bing bang boom. No muss, no fuss. There we go.
Sir, do you think that even the computer cringed when you actually like appended the VR?
Yeah, I think it had it. I felt the keyboard trying to like pull
Stop.
away from me as I was typing it. Yeah,
Because when you deleted it, I just realized.
yeah. All right.
Throws away more RAM every time you do that. It's just like not. You aren't allowed this.
Yes. Yeah, something like that. So, so now we've displayed a number of likes, but of course nothing has been liked, right? So, let's add a button for adding a like, but it should go inside of the div for the post, right? Because there wouldn't be nothing stupider than having like a control at the top, like post 3472, right? It's like, well, I don't even know what the post ID numbers are. How am I supposed to be able to know what, you know? At any rate.
They'll
So-
just like it and comment first. They'll just like it and comment first.
Yeah, there you go. So, again, spending time in JavaScript land. Let's, let like button equal document dot create element button like button dot inner HTML is equal to like button dot on click. Now we'll have to formulate a new function which will contain an AJAX request for this. Function put like what? Nah. We'll just, you know, console.log crap goes here. There we go. Just for now. There we go. Good, good, good. Save, save, save. Reload. Okay, let's see here. Oh! New div dot append child like button. I wasn't actually adding it. Div. There we go. Oh. Here's an issue. Whenever you put the round braces after it, it calls the function. So,
Shouldn't it be add event listener?
Nope.
On like bam.
I don't care to. There we go. Now, if I want to like, I wish it was summer, click. I get my action. Right? The action currently does not contain any action though. So, so now we are presented with the problem. How does this function know? How does this function know which value we're liking? Right?
Right, that's what
Are you just muttering to yourself? So, there are conceivably a number of different schemes we could use to do this. But, let's see here. Yeah, unfortunately, I think we are gonna have to add an event listener.
I was
Okay.
wondering that to myself actually.
Yeah. No, this is fine. So on click, we can actually just put the whole thing in here.
Would you be able to save all this in a zip folder?
Oh yeah, don't worry, I'm zipping all this up and giving it to you.
Don't put it as an announcement, put it as a zip please.
Put like,
Just blow it up.
yeah. Wait, you don't want me to put it as an announcement?
No, zip it and then put it somewhere.
Oh, don't copy it into the announcement?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's fine, for some. This one, I appreciate it being.
Yeah, that happened a couple of times.
Fine.
So, I'm going to set it up so that put like will trigger with the ID number that's currently exposed with data. Data at I at ID. There we go. And now we know the ID number that we want to delete. So, fetch request time. Yoink. Now, just to be different, this time I'm going to include the ID as a URL parameter rather than include it in the payload. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. And our results should be
Can you call the
I'm adding one
display-
thing.
Can you call the display within the, like itself?
See, it needs the data. Right? So,
Okay, so you could put the data within the like parameter without doing this parameter for the like, because it's already there.
you could, but like, from a transactional standpoint, I prefer to like just retrieve everything from the database. Because, you know, if you're thinking about it in terms of a multi-user application, someone else might be liking things at the same time you're liking things,
Oh god.
right?
Yeah, I can see
So,
that. Yeah, and.
You want to refetch from the database rather than keeping the old data. So, like, ordinarily, you would do something like, you know the timers set interval in JavaScript? You would tie your GET request to a set interval rather than having a button for it, right? I guess there's no particular reason for me to have done it with a button, except it's very like clicky, here's the interface,
It's very-
exposed interface.
It's very easy to understand as an interval would have made it just kind of abstract.
Precisely. So, plus, like, do I really want a set interval that retrieves an entire database's contents every half second?
No.
It gets slower and slower with every click.
Precisely. So, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have the display div clear the, I'm gonna have it clear the inner HTML of the display div before we add new stuff. That way, we can re-click get, and it will give us updated without appending, just reappending, right? So, yes. Get. Okay, we are ready to jump back over to PHP. So, PHP, our query will be updates. Oh man, I forget how PHP update queries go. Or SQL update queries, pardon me. Update. Is there like, there's gotta be a command for increment.
No, you just simply have to update it.
Yeah.
You just save the information on your tab one.
Okay, alright, sounds good. Alright. Updates. Wisdom. Set. What was it? Likes is equal to likes plus 1. Something like that. Except where ID is equal to parameter, right? Because you don't want to update, you don't want to increase all likes by 1. You only want to increase where the ID matches the one sent through the post request, or the put request, pardon me. So, we then have to actually get the parameter out of the put request. So, server request URI, that's where the URL parameters are stored. We explode that on slashes, store that in data, and the one that we're looking for will be basically the last one, the last parameter positionally. Although we can also echo that to get the exact position. There we go. Network. No response.
It's because you just entered, do it again.
Do.
Oh, okay, so then. I have no idea what's happening here.
Method get. Wait. I might be a bigger idiot than I thought I was. How is it to know that it's supposed to be a put request if it's not labeled as a put request? There we go. Oh, are you just crashing on me now? You're a syntax error. Oh, no, that's actually correct. Oh, there we go, there's all our puts. That's not a put. I don't know. The computer's starting to decide that it doesn't like me, and class is over. So we will continue this guy on the morrow. But yeah, we're gonna get puts, we're gonna get deletes, and then if we have time, I'll see what we can do about like users, because like one thing that you can do with a get is you can filter by user who posted something.
When you're done.
Yeah, but let me just